Assalamualaikum everybody and welcome to Podcast with Ammi. Today we have a very interesting guest who's at the juxtaposition of education and technology and of course AI, because without AI in 2025 it's all conversations are almost irrelevant. So I'm really delighted to have with us Haider, who is an AI strategy consultant and he's specifically working in the education system. Hi Haider, thank you for coming.
Hello, thank you. It's really nice to be here, and thank you for having me here as well.
So Haider, AI obviously is, I think this is going to be the generation as defined by AI. लेकिन आपका अपना interest in like specializing in AI or making AI your career, like वो कैसे आया?
Very interesting question. और I think before that I should mention कि जो मेरी अपनी background है, it is in electrical and computer engineering from National University of Singapore. So during my time in engineering, I was exposed to the earlier models of AI when it was only restricted to very technical labs. Or somehow education was always at the bottom of my heart. I never knew exactly कि मैं कैसे उसको use करूँगा, but I always felt कि हमारी education के अंदर ना personalization का एक element होना चाहिए. And from very early on, AI had this very positive, look at it कि it can be used for our personalized usages. So somehow the intelligent part of AI has always appealed to me. Back then I didn't know that it will mostly project towards education in my case. Lekin in general, the idea that it can speak the language, it can recognize faces, it can do all the things जो हम machines के साथ कम और human intelligence के साथ ज़्यादा associate करते हैं. So that was a very interesting moment for me. और थोड़ा शायद ज़्यादा technical हो जाए, हर किसी को उस बात की gravity भी ना समझ आ पाए. वो ये है कि AI at the back end is very math based. So this is very interesting thing because as an engineer, when you work in these domains, heavy mathematics, you tend to get very fascinated कि something जिसको हम कभी भी associate नहीं करते with the human element of things, because maths is always considered very logical, very non-human जिसको हम कह सकते हैं. It can be used to create something so human, feels so human-like. So I think those were some of the interesting aspects and the applicational capability of that, which kind of sparked my interest in AI.
So you're specifically working on AI in education.
Yes.
So you're specifically working on integration of AI in the classrooms and with teachers, and I feel that teachers have a love-hate relationship with AI at this moment, because there are lots of schools that are saying that students are using AI in assignments, they can't use AI. I think सबसे ज़्यादा तो अभी teachers AI checkers use कर रही हैं to catch students using AI. And on the other hand, I'm sure you read the article कि Northwestern का एक professor used AI and the student was like, I want a refund on my tuition because why is the professor using AI? So I do feel कि एक बहुत abhi schools and teachers and classrooms are still figuring out their relationship with AI. How do you think AI can be used to better teach?
I think absolutely. जो AI की अभी current perception है, it's kind of a mixed in nature. There are people who are very positive about it, and some are skeptical, and most of them for the right reasons. How I see AI is maybe slightly different, and perhaps in a more positive light with certain guardrails along the way. मेरा सबसे पहले premise ये है for liking AI or having anything to do with AI in education is its ability to improve the learning experience of students. That is very important for me. And why I say that is because almost 1.5 years I started a simple project in using AI capabilities on one of the subjects that I teach, Theory of Knowledge and TP. And I got a very, very positive response on that. And seeing the insights, how students and teachers are using it, the emails I got from them, it just reinforced my idea on that AI's ability to enhance learning, because, a lot of this AI usage has to do with, personalizing the content for themselves to understand something which perhaps they missed out in a class, perhaps to see it in a very new light, finding very real world cases of what they're studying, the content they're studying in the class, which of course great teachers are always very good with solving the problem in the class, but sometimes students need something more than that. So we cannot have teachers 24/7 available to them. So AI was one of that interesting, puzzle in the whole piece of, complication that they were trying to.
So how
work with.
exactly did you use AI? Like, was AI generating quizzes or questions? Was AI, because I think one of the ways that AI is fantastic is that it can personalize learning.
Yes.
So if you have a classroom of 20, like each of them, because of AI, can have like a personalized education
Absolutely.
plan, which obviously, like there's the school in the US called the Future of Education, and what their children are only studying, like academics, 2 hours a day. I'm sure you've heard of that school because they've been creating a lot of headlines. What I was amazed at is, so their students study, maths, English, science, world, etc., all their subjects, only 2 hours a day, and they're like being graded in the top like 5% of the US. And what I loved is that every student had an individual plan thanks to AI. So like somebody in grade 7 could be doing like grade 10 level maths, grade 5 level English, grade 6 level science, because depending on their own abilities, they have like a personalized plan, which is impossible in a regular classroom. The regular classroom में अगर आप grade 6 में हो, तो आप grade 6 ही पढ़ोगे. There's no ऊपर नीचे. So how did you use AI?
अच्छा, मैं ना थोड़ा सा कनेक्ट करना चाहूँगा आपके पहले क्वेश्चन के साथ, because the skepticism part that comes, और मुझे लगता है कि वो skepticism जो है बड़ा genuine भी है. So एक तो हमारी बात होगी personalization of use से, and there are many other use cases, creative uses of AI to enhance learning. But what I see the use of AI in classroom is more in the responsible form. So that is where the initiative that we are taking as an AI-ready framework that we are introducing in school, it is not just about promoting the AI usage, which is something I would like to clarify even in the conversation as it goes on, that it is more about making students AI literate. And what I mean by that is that students are not just trained on using tools, which is a very common misconception that this is how AI should be used. It's rather making them understand what AI actually is. It's not a magic box. How unfortunately this is how it has come to be seen as, but it has a proper mechanism that makes something happen. So giving this knowledge as in form of AI literacy to our students and teachers is going to demystify the process that happens in between. And I think this is a very good step to start thinking critically on the usage part of it, where a lot of teachers have concerns, because that will generate very useful conversations as what AI can do, what it cannot do, what it still needs to work and be refined on. So that is where the whole conversation or the integration of AI stems from.
Great. So मुझे बताएं कि in Pakistan, in the education system as a whole, do you feel that we're still like very wary of AI and we're not really embracing it? Because I think 90% of the schools जहाँ पर there is any form of robotics or coding are still doing, okay, let's do a coding class. Like I think, a lot of our schools, because they're private schools, have to tick the boxes.
Absolutely.
Swimming pool होना है because that's what parents think. Coach है नहीं है, swimming curriculum है नहीं है, nobody really cares. But they have to like tick the boxes so they get admissions. Similarly now I feel a robotics, a STEM or coding club has become, but and everybody's like advertising that, and I'm always like, but why are we teaching our kids coding? Jabke, by the time our 4th graders or 3rd graders will graduate, you won't need coders. Already coders in Silicon Valley are not getting jobs. So हम इनको क्यों सिखा रहे हैं coding? We should be teaching them, like they should all be developing AI models.
It's a wonderful question, and hopefully I can address all of that. Actually, my perspective is mostly coming from how international bodies are responding to that, and of course seeing the global phenomena. I think outright हम किसी भी चीज़ को ऐसे रिजेक्ट नहीं कर पाएंगे कि कोडिंग की ज़रूरत ना हो या स्टेम की ज़रूरत ना हो. I think they're still very relevant. However, how are we going to teach them? Which areas we're going to focus on? That might shift. Very common analogy जो हम आजकल यूज़ भी करते हैं वो है कि हम मैथ्स में जब GDC ग्राफिक डिस्प्ले कैलकुलेटर्स जब आए तो it never changed or completely shunned off the use of mathematics. It's rather changed its direction. So instead of focusing too much on mental math aspects of mathematics or tedious calculations part of it, we rather focused on the conceptual development. और हमने उसका रिजल्ट देखा है कि उसकी वजह से हम अपनी टेक्नोलॉजिकल डेवलपमेंट में बहुत ज़्यादा फास्ट हो गए बिकॉज वी यूज द टेक्नोलॉजी टू save a lot of time, a lot of tedious effort to think more creatively and broadly. I think it's the same thing for AI's involvement as well. मेरे ख्याल से the better way to frame that would be कि हम AI को use करें to understand उसकी limitations and how it can really solve the current problems. क्योंकि coding is still going to be relevant at least for foreseeable few years. कैसे AI evolve करता है वो हम देखेंगे साथ साथ लेकिन अभी भी जो सी आपकी जैसे organizations हैं Microsoft हो गई आपके Amazon हो गए all of that they are still pushing towards this AI literacy but also the ability of students to still have technical know-how because जैसे अगर if I give you a simple example I think जो लोग tech industry से belong करते होंगे उनके लिए this would be very easy to understand but I want to make it easier for everybody else कि जैसे अब आपके नए tools आ रहे हैं which are able to make code this is a great starting point अगर आप पहले एक simple project बनाते थे अब आपको उसकी ज़रूरत नहीं है you can simply just code or mention the AI and it can do it for you but वहाँ से एक proper usable product की तरफ जाना it is still not just the job of AI as of yet. We still need to maintain it, tinker it, user safety के बारे में सोचना और आपके जो उनसा है और इस तरह की बड़ी ऐसी aspects हैं छोटी-छोटी चीज़ें हैं which require your understanding of coding, software engineering and other STEM aspects. So I feel कि ये एक बड़ी mixed चीज़ है जिसको हमें बैलेंस करके चलना पड़ेगा which is why we have this AI ready framework in place कि हम misuse ना कर पाए AI को overly ambitious भी ना रहें और बिल्कुल ही उसको undermine भी ना कर दें. It's a balanced walk that we need to walk along the way.
Also, do you feel like I think people don't realize that AI is still a tool in progression and too much reliance on AI can be like a massive issue. So I actually personally had an experience with this. So I was applying for my son's US passport renewal and instead of like going on the website and looking for the information, I just like used ChatGPT ke, oh, what documents do I need to take? And ChatGPT ne mujhe kaha, you don't need to take the previous passport, you just need to take like ye cheezein. So I went and literally the first thing the woman was like, where's the previous passport? Why didn't you? And it was such a big headache कि we didn't have the previous passport. फिर हमने file भी नहीं की थी report कि we don't have it like XYZ because हमें ChatGPT ने कहा था कि you don't need this. And I remember telling that woman that oh my god, like I completely relied on ChatGPT. And she's like, this is why you shouldn't. And then another experience that I had was I was generating like 12-week planners for my son who's an MYP and मैंने like prompt अपनी तरफ से सही दिया कि MYP IB based ये grade है ये subject है तो इसका planner चाहिए. The planner when I sent it to the teacher it was completely inaccurate. So should we all be wary that okay you cannot rely on AI like AI work like for example the planner for biology was perfect but the planner for geography is completely so अगर मैंने वो use किया होता I would have been teaching like we would have been going here instead of so do you feel कि बहुत ज़्यादा मतलब we all need to be very wary कि it's a tool under progression and relying on it like I know kids who rely on it for like MUN resolutions and all and I think उधर पे काफ़ी major issues हैं.
बिल्कुल. I think that's a very great observation and I'm glad you were able to identify that. Actually तो अगर आप देखें तो ChatGPT की अगर हम बात कर लें तो उन्होंने इसके नीचे स्पेशल स्टेटमेंट लिखी हुई है कि they can be inaccurate और मेरे ख्याल से यही एक वो AI literacy के अंदर आती है बात जो like I mentioned कि जिसके ऊपर हम काम कर रहे हैं कि AI को समझ मैंने जो पर्सनली ऑब्जर्व किया है और अगेन सिमिलर एक्सपीरियंसेस के साथ जब आप लोगों से बात करते हैं तो आई हैव आल्सो सीन दिस प्रेवेलेंट सेंस के बहुत ज़्यादा रिलायंस है AI के ऊपर, और perhaps AI is being seen as a magic box which can do everything, or it is great in many different ways, but definitely it has a lot of limitations. लेकिन वो एक चीज इसको समझना कि कहाँ उसकी limitations हैं, कहाँ तक हमें उस पर rely करना है, what is where we need to double check things, ये वो सारी चीज़ों को demystify करने के लिए AI literacy का होना ज़रूरी है, which is to understand again the background of AI and the basics of it, because उससे ना काफ़ी हद तक आपको ये समझ आ जाएगी कि how AI basically ChatGPT or any model for that matter works, और फिर ये questions become very easy to self-learn कि और ये scenarios को खुद से reflect करना बहुत आसान हो जाएगा. I would like to mention something I saw. जो आपका CEO of ChatGPT, Sam Altman, in one of his interviews, he showed rather a surprise on the fact that people are overusing or over-relying on ChatGPT. He himself was a little skeptical on that. So that tells you a lot, because if a company's CEO is expressing this kind of a concern, it tells that the general public is making more or depending more on AI than they should. और definitely अगर आप उसकी backend पे जाएं, उसकी technology को समझें, तो this is a very obvious thing, which is why हमें बहुत ज़्यादा, जैसे आपने कहा, हमें ख्याल रखना है. लेकिन वही बात जैसे हम कर रहे हैं अभी, इस तरह हमारी बात जा रही है कि there is a balance that we need to achieve. हम overly wary होके उसको बिल्कुल ही यूज़ करना छोड़ देंगे, फिर हम एक बहुत प्रोडक्टिविटी बेस्ड टूल को अपनी लाइफ से बिल्कुल एलिमिनेट कर देंगे. लेकिन अगर हम उन्हें यूज़ करेंगे और हम ओवर यूज़ की तरफ चले गए, तो वी माइट एंड अप विद दिस इनएक्यूरेसी और इस तरह की मिसहैप्स दैट मे हैपन. सो अगेन द आइडिया इज टू मेंटेन दैट बैलेंस. How to maintain that balance is the whole crux of the matter that even we as an educators are solving, and the global AI leaders are solving in their own products as well.
Yeah. So in Pakistan's education space, abhi tak, I don't think AI integration properly hui hai. Like I've read buzzwords like AI based education, or like obviously a lot of marketing tools ke we're teaching AI, we're teaching AI. But really, when we talk about integration of AI into a school curriculum, like what does that mean?
I think great question, और मेरे ख्याल से बिल्कुल this is the kind of question we should be asking more frequently, क्योंकि these buzzwords, marketing words are anyway gonna make into our daily life in our workable spaces as well. लेकिन बात यही है कि सारी what exactly, as you said, is what we're trying to do with AI integration. तो हम यूज़ कर रहे हैं वर्ड AI ready school का, जो हमारा इनिशिएटिव है या फ्रेमवर्क है. उसकी मेन रीज़न ये है कि AI is not a switch that we can just turn on and say we have become AI powered and so on and so forth. AI is a paradigm shift in a way, because आपको देखें कि 200 years ago अगर आप चले जाएं, जो इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन आई थी, it kind of changed a lot in how people operated in lives. इसी तरह से अब AI revolution भी आ चुकी है, और जिस तरह से AI operate कर रहा है, we have to start transforming ourselves gradually, mindfully, thoughtfully, meaningfully, in all these dimensions. So जब हम integration in education की बात करते हैं, specifically I think it is a step-by-step process towards achieving AI literacy in our schools by strategic step-by-step or phased executions, जिसमें 3 बहुत core areas हैं जिस पे काम करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. अगर हम नहीं कर रहे तो कुछ हम मिस आउट कर रहे हैं. सबसे पहले तो ये है कि हमारे पास leadership को understanding है, उनका mindset है, what AI is and how they are doing that, because that's going to guide the vision and the policies that we need to make sure the right usage of AI is possible. और हमारा जो framework है उसमें we are guiding this through the IB's principles and the international standards who are working towards it. Number 2 is कि आपके teachers, are they empowered enough? Do they understand? Do they have the knowledge of AI literacy? Do they understand how to fully use it in the classroom? How to guide their students and use it? Do they understand what's a good usage of AI for their particular subject that doesn't compromise critical thinking, creative thinking, and also doesn't breach the ethicality of the product's usage? And then comes the last bit, which is the integration in the curriculum. And when I mean by integration in the curriculum, again, I start by saying AI literacy, which goes to ask how AI works, what is AI, how it is creating these sophisticated answers. And after that, maybe then the integration of tools in the classroom for the students will come. So it's a very, you can say, bottom-up approach. Rather than marketing about AI, it's more about laying the foundations for a responsible usage of AI in school. Because खाली ये करने से आपका एक framework तो set होता है, but उसको execute करने के लिए भी we need like the proper steps. So that is what I feel a proper representation of AI integration should be.
So, Abhi, at this point, have AI policies for education been made? Because I know that a lot of schools still are not very clear on, should they outright ban AI use? Should they allow AI use? So, where are we on that? Do most schools now have AI policies? Does our government have an AI policy on education? Ke abhi wo nahi hai. Especially, I feel IB mein tricky hota hai because IB students have access to the internet all the time. They are mainly online, and I think Cambridge will face this issue very soon when they go online. I don't know metric वगैरह, तो obviously till it goes online. But like with the two major examination systems, question is कि अच्छा, like what should the policy be?
अच्छा, इसमें the good part is कि IB is very positive about AI and they're very proactive about AI. They have been sharing their thoughts, their vision related to AI from the day one. You can say that they are very clear that where the future is, that's where the direction of their education is to go. So they are very much promoting this idea that schools should start using AI intelligently. When they say intelligently, they have some policies in place, like we have for academic honesty, जो कि define करती है कि हम किस तरह अपने जो काम submit करें वो खुद से आपने किया हो, paraphrased हो, referenced हो, that all defines academic honesty. और I think AI का भी कुछ हद तक हम parallels draw कर सकते हैं जो IB ने किया भी है हमारे लिए, which is a very good thing for us because then it makes our job slightly easier because we don't have to recreate the wheel. We can also bank on some of the ideas जो इन लोगों ने start किए हैं. So IB is very clear कि जैसे as a teacher आप मेरे से guidance लेते हैं, if you take the similar guidance from an AI based system which is good enough to give you guidance, that's fine. However, if you use it to copy something which would have been wrong even if I as a teacher tell you something to just write as your assignment. So there are very clear parallels that IB has drawn. So I think coming back to the policy part, we are introducing our policy guided by these IB principles and international standards, and of course from our own insights and experience, particularly over the last 1.5 years, the insights I've gotten from the AI tools that students and teachers have used. We are devising a policy. But having said that, AI is a very evolving field. It's evolving in a very short timeline. अभी हमें जो पता है एक महीने बाद क्या कौन से नए टूल्स आ जाएंगे, किस लेवल पे वो यूज हो सकेंगे, it will keep on changing. So we have to keep it agile, but still clear and rigid enough that we can build something on top of it. Coming back to that कि हमें उसमें अपने use cases identify करने पड़ेंगे, guided by again these international standards and IB के exactly what constitutes as good usage of AI and what constitutes as wrong usage of AI, and we need to stay within those boundaries. And then we need to stay agile as the technology moves forward. We need to have systems in place, maybe like a whole AI leadership system or so on and so forth, which kind of iterates along the way. इस तरह से हम ensure करवा सकते हैं कि at least leadership point of view से जो हमारी strategy है about AI, this is very clear. और हम खाली अकेले नहीं हैं इस चीज़ के अंदर. We are guided by these very amazing AI education institutes and educational bodies. Cambridge, again, I'm sure अगर अभी नहीं तो वो बहुत जल्दी इसको follow करेगा because it is a global requirement now. तो जब एक phenomena, एक momentum शुरू होता है, everybody, to stay relevant and stay in touch with how things are moving, they will follow suit. So inshallah, we'll see that happening very soon.
So is there a right age at which AI should be introduced? Like I was amazed to see my 9-year-old was like using ChatGPT and pretending to be Ronaldo, and like literally he was having a conversation with ChatGPT. He's like, "This is Ronaldo. What do you think my next career steps should be?" And he was like literally like he was trying to trick AI, "Ke main Ronaldo," and I was amazed that he knew that, "Acha, how do I get onto ChatGPT and how do I send questions?" And puri like he was having a conversation. So is there like a right age? Like you know how, for example, a lot of people believe that social media before the age of 14 is more destructive than helpful, and then others, you know, everybody, like obviously I think these policies are still evolving, but generally as parenting experts we believe that before the age of 14 you don't really need to give your kids social media. YouTube obviously because of educational purposes, Twitter maybe, but not Instagram, Facebook. So similarly with AI, is there a right age?
Absolutely. I think this is a wonderful question that parents definitely should be aware of, and they should be asking, or us as educators, we need to have very clear understanding of that, and maybe accordingly we should be launching our AI literacy frameworks. I think this is exactly at the heart of what we are trying to do. पहले तो बात ये कि AI का जो एक मैंने सबसे ज़्यादा misconception देखा है वो ये है कि naturally AI gets synonymous with ChatGPT.
Yeah,
so
I know, because वो like सबसे easily accessible.
And I think yes, because
but that is actually a very relevant point कि AI is not just ChatGPT.
जी बिल्कुल, क्योंकि AI का जो public face था वो ChatGPT के form में हर किसी को नजर आया. Although AI had been around, जैसे Tesla की self-driving cars थी, आपके YouTube के अंदर recommendation systems है. So AI
even Facebook, social
absolutely,
media, right?
all of that, Alexa, Siri, all of those were.
But everybody only.
So AI.
ChatGPT has become everybody's like therapist.
Absolutely, and again, I will mention the same interview from Sam Altman as well, where he was surprised because there is no legal protection on what you share with ChatGPT, especially in the therapeutical capacity, where otherwise if you go to a therapist, you have like proper legal rights and everything with your data. So it's very scary. I mean that it has gotten to the stage where people are not caring so much about the privacy element. Coming back to your question again, so AI in general is a system that can respond or behave in a very intelligent way, to the point that it's almost equates to the human intelligence. So with that in mind, AI as a system should be taught as early as possible, just like we teach mathematics. So I think international जो frameworks हैं या international bodies हैं, वो already AI literacy को उन्होंने कह दिया है कि it's equivalent to learning maths and reading. So लेकिन what I mean by that कि अगर हम early stage पे start करें, तो we are not again talking about ChatGPT. We are talking about what is AI. How does that work? Age appropriate way. वही बात आ गई जो AI literacy से related I have mentioned in the previous question as well. लेकिन now with more age appropriate references. तो बच्चों को ये चीज़ सिखाना हमारे लिए ज़रूरी है, because the future is AI driven future. तो अगर हमें AI की backends, AI की एक way of thinking, AI के algorithms का पता होगा, हम उसको बहुत intelligently different scenarios में use कर सकते हैं. We don't need ChatGPT in all the AI scenarios. So that is one thing. Okay, I think this is what the part of AI that everybody has to learn. जैसे हम coding सिखाते रहे हैं, Scratch पे and so on and so forth. This is how age appropriately we need to do that. ChatGPT specifically, उसकी तो वैसे भी age limit है. 13 से पहले it's not even allowed by ChatGPT's creators, should be used by anybody below 13. So वो तो हम वैसे भी use नहीं करवा सकते. अगर students, अगर बच्चे use कर रहे हैं, तो I think from your this podcast, I would like to make this message clear कि आपके जो बच्चे हैं, उनको 13 से पहले आपने बिल्कुल खुद से use नहीं करने देना ChatGPT. हाँ, सुपरवाइज यूज जरूर आप करवा सकते हैं, लेकिन वो आपकी बड़ी क्लियर सुपरविजन के अंदर यूज हो. तो अगेन टू सम अप, आप एआई जरूर यूज करवाएं, जिसमें बहुत से और टूल्स यूज हो सकते हैं. बच्चों के लिए इलस्ट्रेशन से रिलेटेड बहुत अच्छे टूल्स हैं जो एज अप्रोप्रिएट हैं, जिसमें डाटा प्राइवेसी का एलिमेंट बहुत ज़्यादा क्लियर है. और along the way जब बच्चे इस एज पे जाते हैं कि they can use ChatGPT, तो वो ChatGPT का यूज़ हमें अपनी गार्ड रेल्स, अपनी बाउंड्रीज, अपनी जो पॉलिसीज़ हैं स्कूल की, उसके अंदर रह के फिर हम यूज़ करवा सकते हैं. And again, there's going to be a lot more further detail down the line कि कैसे teachers इसको incorporate करें in a meaningful way which doesn't compromise creativity, critical thinking and ethics, जो एक बच्चे की development journey, cognitive journey का बहुत ज़रूरी हिस्सा है.
But do you feel now, like, you know, when calculators came about, the pair, like, I mean, I guess there's still some place for mental maths, ki chalo, just to kind of build up a child's equity. But otherwise, the idea that acha, on the top of your head you can do long divisions and long multiplications is kind of irrelevant. Okay, you can do it as a trick, but do you really need it when there's a calculator on every phone, there's a calculator on every computer? Similarly, I feel that, you know, that beautiful cursive handwriting ka concept and spending like years teaching children cursive handwriting, to be honest, irrelevant hai, when you're only going to be writing on a keypad. So should you not be building up speed on keypad and familiarity with keypads and, you know, different languages ke keypads rather than a beautiful cursive? Do you feel ChatGPT mein one of the dangers or maybe eventualities is that written language ke upar phir people will no longer need to learn paragraphing and sentence structure and like literally, like even though I'm a writer, for my own emails I find it so much easier to just ask ChatGPT, oh, this is the prompt. But that is also a problem, right? Because I obviously already know how to write and structure emails. But the new generation would be like, why do we even need to learn? Just say, why do they need to learn how to write beautifully? O-levels ki wajah se maybe, but now that O-levels are also going online. Every exam in the world is online. But why do they need to learn pen and paper?
I think ये है वो वाला questions हैं जो हमें अपने education system में address करने पड़ेंगे कि how should we incorporate AI in different subjects. I had a very meaningful chat with an English teacher about the usage of ChatGPT in the classroom, and I really wanted to understand her perspective on that. Some of the very important points that I learned from that discussion and further experience of others as well, again, हमें language तो फिर भी develop करनी पड़ेगी. It may be facilitated by ChatGPT because पहले हमें paragraphing नहीं आती थी, हमें structuring नहीं आती थी. We have to do that. Now ChatGPT can do that for you. But still, in order to refine the work, in order to understand कि जो आपने content produce किया है, is it up to the mark, is it relevant to what you are sending it to, उसकी tonality वो है, उसके अंदर empathy का element उतना exist करता है that you need for that particular conversation. जैसे आपने बताया कि आप use करती हैं, अब as an adult हमारे पास ChatGPT से पहले काफ़ी ज़्यादा experiential learning इस चीज़ पे आ चुकी है कि we understand the etiquettes of communication, we understand how to operate in a certain surrounding. तो ये चीज़ें अभी भी हमें introduce करवानी पड़ेंगी because just going with ChatGPT would mean कि we are relying on ChatGPT again, over-reliance on ChatGPT for guiding us in all these frames. लेकिन ज़रूरी नहीं है कि ये ChatGPT as we've already pointed out कि उसकी limitations हैं. तो हम बच्चे को वही बात आ गई कि we need to still keep certain classical ways of learning in place while we can accelerate some of the learning processes through AI. जैसा कि अगर आपको पहले ऐसे writing में you need some brainstorming, you need to create some outlines, maybe that's a good use of AI to, you know, get your creative juices flowing. But once you have got it together, you need to put some things together. और ये हमारे वो ethical usage का भी एक part होगा. As a student especially, as a adult हम बड़ा कुछ कर सकते हैं because we are allowed to in that capacity. As a student, they still have a long way to learn. So वहाँ हम इतनी leverage नहीं दे सकते कि we completely remove the idea of learning a language. Handwritten wali cheez, I think it might be subjective to everyone. Some people really enjoy it as an art form. So for them, this calligraphy and handwritten form is a way to trigger their, you know, neural muscles and so. So I personally, by the way, find it very interesting that sometimes I have to do brainstorming. Doing it by hand always kicks up something which just writing or typing on the keyboard may not. But it may be because I've been before the era of AI and digital world, I've been trained in that practice. So that is something I guess more researchers in the future are going to tell us about.
Yeah.
But I think we need to do still the responsible step to not absolutely unanimously decide to either shun off ChatGPT or completely resolve ourselves to using that.
Yeah. But are AI checkers like accurate, or as these tools develop, I think one of the issues is that you might might end up making humans too smart for the tools. So I know students who are able to like deceive AI checkers, and so is that going to be a problem in the education segment, or as AI develop, like AI checkers also going to become more sophisticated?
I think it's more going to be like a cat and mouse kind of a scenario, because they will be as the AI develops, so will the checkers be, and that is not the end. Then AI will develop further, checkers will catch up. So I don't think it will be an ultimately clear or absolute solution. It will provide some sort of like an inkling whether something is AI generated or not, but it will not be a very foolproof method, because the development in AI is so fast. It's the same thing कि हमारे पास computer viruses भी generate होते हैं और हमारे softwares भी update होते हैं antivirus या उसके अंदर जो security, cyber security protections, but still आप news सुनते हैं कि जी data hack हो गया, banks का data hack हो गया of the governments or बड़ी institutes. So it is always going to be this kind of like a chase that's going to keep happening. तो I feel इसलिए ये चीज़ तो होगी हमारे पास हमेशा as a backup system या as a secondary layer of verification. But उसके साथ साथ जो हम एक guidance provide करते हैं बच्चे को कि जी what is the right use of AI, what is the wrong, I think that still measure has to go, because that will create a lot of responsible usage of it. Yes, still there will be some elements that we will not be able to control just by guiding. For that, these checkers are going to be helpful, but even then there will be some aspects that will go unchecked, or I guess this is how the real world is going to evolve.
Yeah.
So yes, things are, organizations are working on that. They have good opportunity to do so. That's where the creativity of educators is also going to come into play. The experience of the teacher is going to come into play. कि हम अपनी जो assessments हैं या जो अपने tasks हैं, do we need to redesign them in a way that it's easier to verify if it's students' own work? Yeah, we make it more possible for the students to use AI and get past through that.
Yeah. Or like develop assessments that are AI resilient.
Exactly.
So I mean, obviously, like don't like essay questions. I feel tempt students to use AI, but if you do like a lot of the timed assignments,
absolutely,
then you don't really have time, because if you're going to use AI, then you won't be able to.
और ऐसा भी जैसे कि जो हम पहले करते आए हैं कुछ old practices के let's do the assignment in class. Let's do an oral reflection of what you have done, because वहाँ आपके पास फिर जब tools वगैरह की possibility नहीं होगी, that's where you can really see whether somebody is understanding the concept or it's the AI speaking. तो मेरे ख्याल से कुछ इस तरह की timeless practices वापस शायद आ जाएं in the wake of this new AI era that's coming.
So I was reading this research that was published in the New York Times about how, because of AI and because of a lot of other tools that are being developed, soft skills are suddenly becoming like the most valuable skills. So like empathy, emotional quotient, how you talk, how you deliver information, because AI will give you the information, but are you able to deliver it effectively to an auditorium of people, to a boardroom? Are you able to work with a team effectively? Are you a good listener? Like a lot of such skills, like confidence, public speaking. And this school that I was telling you about, Future of Education, interestingly, like in final year projects are things like, okay, give a TEDx talk, something that obviously AI can't get up and give the talk for you. Even if it's helped you structure the talk, आपको खुद ही खड़े होकर, खुद ही engage करना है, खुद ही theatrical होना है. Or they would do things like run a food truck. अब वो भी आपको, you have to know, okay, how do you market, what works, how do you interact with customers. So those are skills like way beyond AI. So do you feel that, I know Pakistan may be always like 40 years behind, but do you feel that now the discussion in schools in Pakistan also needs to start moving towards, okay, in an AI world, the re-emergence of soft skills? Because I think COVID made the soft skills like were trashed, but now it seems that they're becoming the most valuable commodity.
बिल्कुल, I mean absolutely spot on that. मुझे लगता है कि बिल्कुल ये चीज़ें बड़ी meaningful हैं, because if we have to live in a society which is made up of humans, at least for now, जब तक reports नहीं हमारे पास आते, at least तब तक तो हम कह सकते हैं कि we are living in this society which primarily is guided by humans and all, and we need to interact with them. और एक ह्यूमन टू ह्यूमन जो इंटरेक्शन है, इट हैज़ एन एम्पैथी का एलिमेंट, एक आपकी इमोशंस का एलिमेंट है, एक आपके कम्युनिकेशन का एलिमेंट, एक रिस्पेक्ट का एलिमेंट है. वो ऐसी टाइमलेस सोशल चीज़ें हैं जो कि आई फील कि एक ह्यूमन बेस्ड सोसाइटी का हमेशा पार्ट रहेंगी. और आपने देखा कि जब सोशल मीडिया की वजह से a lot of complaints from students or rather parents is के हमारा बच्चा जो है वो बहुत ज़्यादा सोशली इंगेज नहीं करता, वो हमेशा डिजिटल स्क्रीन्स पे बैठा रहता है. सो ये आइडिया और ज़्यादा एम्पलीफाई हो जाएगा अगर AI आ जाए, बिकॉज और हम सोशल स्किल्स पे बहुत ज़्यादा कोई अपनी क्लियर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ना या उसके ऊपर फोकस ना करें, तो I'm sure इसे हमें करना पड़ेगा. और these are going to be the challenges of the new AI based era. वो शायद अभी हमें उतने ज़्यादा नज़र ना आ रहे हो, लेकिन very soon we'll start seeing that. I think articles or reports इस तरह की already आ रही हैं where people get connected to the AI system so much कि they lose track of what's happening outside of that world, because वो इतनी natural conversation हो गई है and kind of get the illusion of a human bond somewhere. So that is definitely going to be very very important. और I think मेरे ख्याल से AI को जितना हम importance दे रहे हैं, well, to an extent it's fair, लेकिन हमें साथ साथ ये human capacities को भी build करना पड़ेगा.
So do you feel schools in Pakistan are doing that, or are we still like kind of catching up to figuring out the unbelievable and unprecedented influence of AI? Because I feel अभी तक in Pakistan वो influence नहीं feel हुआ, या वो अभी तक we're not even sure. So like AI, Pakistan के schools seem to be like still operating in a vacuum.
Absolutely. मुझे लगता है पाकिस्तान में अभी वो उस तरीके से AI के influence को समझा नहीं जा रहा और अगर समझा जा रहा है तो not in the right frame of mind. Either it's like polarized, mostly it's a polarized view, कि जो लोग इसको importance दे रहे हैं वो बहुत ज़्यादा importance दे रहे हैं, जैसे हमने पहले बात की, और जो बिल्कुल ignore कर रहे हैं वो अभी भी उसके impact को समझ नहीं पा रहे. और I think इसकी एक वजह ये भी है कि पाकिस्तान is a little slow in adopting these new trends. हमारा infrastructure जो है वो इन चीज़ों को instantly cater नहीं करता. I can give my own personal example of Singapore, where I have done my education and I've worked for numerous years there as well. अभी recently report कल ही मैं पढ़ रहा था कि Singapore is among one of the very few places where the people are very much AI ready. So, or I know why this is the case, because उनका infrastructure is very much built on adopting these technologies fast. उनकी गवर्नमेंट बहुत जल्दी रिस्पॉन्ड करती है, उनके इंस्टीट्यूशंस बहुत जल्दी रिस्पॉन्ड करते हैं, उनके सिस्टम्स बहुत जल्दी इम्प्रूव होते हैं, जैसे कि इंटरनेट सर्विसेज एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट विच काइंड ऑफ आर कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री थिंग्स टू एन AI इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. और उनके जो अवाम है, उनकी जो पब्लिक है, उनके जो सारे लोग हैं, वो उस पर बहुत जल्दी क्या नाम है उसको इंटीग्रेट कर लेते हैं अपनी लाइफ में. सो पाकिस्तान में डेफिनेटली ये हमारे गैप्स हैं इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चरल, हमारी अपनी प्रायोरिटीज थोड़ी सी डिफरेंट हैं, और these things definitely affect how overall we perceive AI.
So you've been working with LGS International, which I think is one of the first schools to want to like come up with AI policies and AI leadership. So tell us about what you're doing there and what should we be watching out for?
Great. Yes. So basically, LGS International is where I'm launching this in collaboration with the leadership AI readiness framework, जो कि AI ready initiative है, जैसे हमने बात की कि एक पूरे स्कूल को जब आपने AI इंटीग्रेट करना है, it's not just introducing tools, it's about setting the mindset, it's about empowering the leaders, giving them the right understanding of AI, empowering the teachers so they can tackle this new technology and understand what it can, it cannot do, and then also bringing this impact to students as well, but not in the form of introducing tools right off, but to introduce them with the idea of what AI is, what it can do, what it cannot do, and how they can use it positively to learn better. And of course, all of that enclosed by the guidelines and the policies जो हमारे जो school है, LGS International, they will be setting around that. और खैर ये तो फ्रेमवर्क की बात है, जो सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ इस पूरी चीज़ को करने में इट्स द एग्जीक्यूशन पार्ट ऑफ इट, जिसके लिए मुझे लगता है कि एक लीडरशिप की विजन बहुत ज़रूरी है, उनकी आई थिंक उनका एक अपनी कल्चरल एडॉप्शन टुवर्ड्स दिस न्यू फ्यूचर रेडी सिस्टम्स एंड अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द एजुकेशन पैडागोजी, क्योंकि उसके बगैर आप AI और एजुकेशन को एक अच्छी तरह से कोलैबोरेट नहीं कर सकते. तो जैसे हमने कुछ लिमिटेशंस बताई AI की, इन सारी चीज़ों को ज़हन में रखते हुए द एग्जीक्यूशन पॉलिसी इज़ ऑल्सो प्रीटी क्लियर होते हैं कि इंस्टेड ऑफ जस्ट राइट फ्रॉम द वेरी बिगनिंग लॉन्चिंग इट कम्प्लीटली फॉर एवरीवन, वी आर इंस्टेड डूइंग अ फेज्ड रिलीज, जिसमें हम पायलट प्रोग्राम्स के साथ स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं विद सम measurable outcomes, and then where the indicators are good, we will gradually build it up from there. So ये एक हमारा इनिशिएटिव है जो holistically AI को in the responsible yet promoting creativity and critical thinking in students हम introduce करना चाह रहे हैं, and it's a long-term goal. It's not just about one workshop or one course introduction. It's a transformative process जो along the way हम observe करेंगे और देखेंगे कैसा चल रहा है.
So what would your advice be to parents? Because obviously, while schools have experts to help them figure out the usage of AI, parents don't. So what would your advice be to parents on the usage of AI that is okay for their children and not okay, and how should they supervise? Like, what would your advice be to parents?
I think, and when we speak about education और IB के अंदर तो ये बात बड़ी क्लियर है कि एजुकेशन के अंदर आपके टीचर्स, आपके स्टूडेंट्स और आपके पेरेंट्स ये एक क्लोज कम्युनिटी बनाते हैं, and they need to be in sync with each other. So absolutely पेरेंट्स को बिल्कुल ऑन बोर्ड होना पड़ेगा with the idea of AI literacy, और मैं वही कहूँगा कि इंशाल्लाह इन द फ्यूचर हम उनके साथ भी कुछ प्रोजेक्ट्स वगैरह, उनके लिए भी कुछ इस तरह की प्रोजेक्ट्स वगैरह लेके आएंगे, so they don't feel left out in this whole journey. But if I can just give like simple, quick ideas, I think it will be very important to see कि आपका बच्चा जो है, जो स्कूल की पॉलिसीज बनेंगी, जो उनके साथ जो हम यूजर गाइड्स प्रोड्यूस करेंगे कि what are the right and wrong usages of AI, I think that would be a very good step to, for parents to start taking some lessons from कि what is the right usage of AI. Of course, इसके अलावा हम अपनी इंडिविजुअल वर्कशॉप्स भी करेंगे पेरेंट्स के साथ, जिसमें उनको भी इस बारे में और गाइडेंस प्रोवाइड करेंगे. सो सिंपल एडवाइस वुड बी कि 13 ईयर से पहले अपने बच्चे को ChatGPT पे ना आने दें. अगर बहुत ज़रूरी है तो आप सुपरवाइज यूज़ करवाएं, और इट्स मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट कि जहाँ भी आपको लगे कि जो यूजेज हो रहा है AI का, अगर आप उसके बारे में भी इतने अवेयर नहीं हैं, तो always stay in touch with the school. At least for LGSI, this is what I can say, because this is how we are structuring things, कि हम parents को proper guidance provide करते रहें. So when students are back in home and they're doing something on AI, their parents know whether it's a good or bad use. So I think maybe that's enough for right now. Lekin inshallah, as we roll on more things, there will be some more content for their parents as well.
I feel one area that we've not discussed, which is quite revolutionary for AI education, is how AI will hopefully make education more accessible for the neurodiverse, right?
Oh, yes.
Because I feel for neurodiverse parents in Pakistan, it is such an uphill battle. The expenses, because you pay the school, then you also provide the SNL, the government, the schools, nobody else is responsible, it's you. So everything from therapies, SNL, separate curriculum, सब कुछ the parents have to provide.
Absolutely, I think ये एक बहुत ज़बरदस्त इंक्लूसिविटी की तरफ जाती हुई AI की एक एप्लीकेशन है जो कि अदरवाइज जैसे आपने खुद ही पॉइंट आउट किया कि for parent or for individual person it can be a little challenging, you know, putting everything together in a very inclusive way, so you know everybody can benefit from the educational experience that you know we have to offer. So definitely मेरे ख्याल से इस पे बहुत ज़्यादा काम हो रहा है और this is a wonderful application, and I'm sure as the general schools take up this idea of AI literacy and its applications in there, this you know inclusive education is definitely going to be the next step from the applications of AI. और I'm sure इस पे already बहुत ज़्यादा काम हो भी रहा है, different companies are working on that. लेकिन as we always say कि AI के अंदर अभी उतनी reliability element नहीं है जिस तरह आपने भी बताया, the information that it gives can sometimes be off. So उस चीज़ को भी साथ साथ tackle करना ज़रूरी है, which is why companies are little slow or rather thoughtful in launching these kind of products. जो कि मेडिकल या थेरेपी या इस तरह की किसी भी एक डोमेन से रिलेटेड है, बिकॉज दे डोंट वांट टू क्रिएट एनी mishaps in introducing those products, because they are very critical nature की जो उनसी है information delivery. So that is where after you know more guardrails can be established, more certainty in the responses can be established, which is by the way going to happen very soon as the progress of AI is going. So you will see the inclusive side of AI in the education making a prominent appearance.
So do you feel, you know, there's a lot of talk about AI taking a lot of human jobs, and already like physician assistants are like, AI is just going to take over our jobs. Even like GPs are like, will we even remain relevant? And then coders. What about teachers? Will the world need teachers? Jab AI tools are doing such a fantastic job in like pilot projects in the US. And also what's fantastic is that with AI in a classroom of 20, every kid kind of has his own individual teacher rather than one teacher for 20 kids. So do you feel that we're heading into a world where teachers would no longer be needed?
I think that's a very common fear, I must say, that exists in the teaching community. But I personally feel, having been in the education for more than 10 years and seeing both the technical sides of AI development and the educational progress, I think that teachers' role, as in many other industries as well, teachers' role needs to be redefined. I'm not going to say they're going to be replaced. Their role definitely will change. I think that instead of just an information delivery system, which AI can also be very good at, they rather have to be the course or the content or the learning designer. I'm not sure if that term is still used or is being that commonly in common language right now, but this is how their role is going to evolve. They rather will be deciding or understanding the nature of the student and guiding the progression of the content for them or progression of the learning for them. Because आप देखें AI teacher जो है, it's not just telling you के something about a subject. It's also understanding your human aspects. They are showing, they have the empathy to understand whether you have learned something, whether you find something interesting, whether this learning is going to help you in the 3-4 weeks later when another thing or another aspect of the subject will drop by. Yes, AI can do some of these things, but it's not really there to understand your full personality like a teacher can do, who has to see you in physical capacity, who understands much more, they have much more data points about you to know you as person. So I think the human element of teaching, that is going to shine through. And the content delivery aspect, yes, that is where you can see AI doing gradually a very good job. But as far the role of teachers are concerned, I think in a workshop that I gave to teachers, I said that it's not going to be, I mean, good teachers are not going to be replaced by AI. They are rather going to be made into excellent teachers. It's the ones who are not good at certain subjects, they will be struggling with the AI's era coming along, because then your job is going to get more complicated, more refined in a way. So whichever perspective you want to take that as. So for me, having seen the quality of teachers around me, I think they are pretty much safe as far they stay in touch with how the AI is going and they keep on learning and complementing their teaching skills. I think they will rather have a more secure future than some of the non-human element jobs that we see around us, because those will definitely be replaced by AI completely. So that's my take on this.
Okay, so last question, looking into the future, should like educationists, parents, students, should they be excited about what AI is bringing? Should we be scared because we're stepping into the great unknown? Should we, like, are we ill prepared? Like, where are we?
I think looking into the future, I think we are slightly on the ill prepared side, because with the basic experience I had communicating with people around me, or in general that we see online and through this global surveys that have happened, I think the right understanding of AI is still lacking in general population. There's more, as we mentioned earlier on, there's more polarization around that. So while I feel it should be exciting in the ways how it can, bring certain creative, critical elements of learning forefront, we need to be wary about the ill uses of that. So again, I think we need to think more responsibly about AI. That should be our sentiment towards it. That are we being responsible? It's not being super excited or being super, being so feared about that. You need to see whether you are taking the responsible steps, and what are the responsible steps. Are you aware of AI enough, or are you just learning through ChatGPT and thinking of it to be the only AI source? So I think it comes back to the similar question that we have been addressing earlier on, that we should be excited if we are using it responsibly. We shouldn't be excited if the responsibility element is missing, because it has ways to destroy the learning processes which we may not fully fathom. Or I think I would like to further up that with the MIT's recent study about how over-reliance on ChatGPT has been linked to cognitive decline in the learners. So this is something we need to keep at the very forefront. कि हम जब AI systems किसी तरह से भी use करें, हमने अपनी जो एक क्लासिकल एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग और एक जो चीज़ को समझने का एक पूरा प्रोसेस है लर्निंग का, हमने उसको फोरगो नहीं करना. हमने वो करके फिर उस लर्निंग को कॉम्प्लीमेंट ज़रूर करना है थ्रू रिस्पॉन्सिबल यूजेज ऑफ AI. सो आई थिंक दैट इज द वर्क फ्लो which should be exciting. Anything other than that, which is not along the similar lines, perhaps needs some rethinking.
Great. Thank you so much, Haider. It was really great to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
And to understand all the layers that AI is bringing into the education system. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thank you everybody for watching. I hope इस podcast के through बहुत से आपके सवाल about AI classrooms में क्या use हो रहा है, नहीं हो रहा, कैसे use होना चाहिए, and AI guidelines for parents. I hope ये बहुत से सवालों के जवाब आपको मिल गए हों. Obviously AI is a constantly evolving tool, so these conversations need to keep happening so we all get answers that are more in line with what's happening today. Thank you for watching and stay tuned.